For more content like this, log on to gibbopresents.com.
It's Gibbo, and right now I'm once again joined by the man behind the Revolution. It is Randy Valentine. Randy, always good to speak with you. How are you?
It's always a pleasure, my brother. It's always a pleasure. Trust me, it's good, man. I'm grateful that you reach out, Yeah, man. But there, I continue. I carry on. Walk on.
We'll get into your new solo project, narrative shortly. But first, I want to ask about another project which you are part of, Havana meets Kingston. So to start with, can you introduce the concept of this album and the man behind it?
The concept behind this project. First, let me pick up the man behind it, Savona, because this concept is stemming from an idea, from Australia, way across on the other side of the planet, and he said it came to him when he was in he was in Jamaica, he was in Jamaica having a coffee and all that vibe, and he's, thinking about the inspiration of that he gets from both cultures and listening to two sounds and wanting to merge both of them together. So there's so much that's happening behind this project. Like the core of it was literally just to merge the cultures, Cuba and Jamaica, via music, and to share their similarities or their differences. And it's actually happening because, as for me as a youth from Clarendon, to meet up with Solace in all the way in Australia and learning so much about Cuba that I never actually knew, because I don't know, maybe because I didn't take the time, or because it's not something that was always a part of my everyday conversation or everyday narratives growing up as a youth, so it wouldn't happen. And then I kind of understood why as well, or one reason, because I was speaking to Solace. Solace is the guy that did the song named Carnival, you see? I was speaking to him, and through the little English that he knew, he said, my music, Cuban music is background music. And I said, no, general. This is what I love about reggae, because reggae don't play the background. Reggae in your face, reggae is the foreground sound. Reggae drives the culture, reggae drives Jamaica. Reggae push the people on the island. So that's where I kind of felt that might be a reason as to why I don't hear enough of the voices of the people from Cuba. Because, there's a lot of it happening in the background. Isn't it? But reggae in States or reggae in your face. And that's what we got. That's what I got from being able to be on this project, and then knowing that it's a cultural exchange, So it's a beautiful project.
Well, I think there's political reasons as well why we don't tend to know as much about Cuban music and culture as we perhaps should. So during your time working on this project, you, I guess, improved your knowledge of Cuba, Cuban culture, and Spanish a bit as well?
A little bit of Spanish. There's something that is also a part of another project that they're working on. And it's a well-known saying that they say in Cuba. Siempre sí, nunca no. Fabalare la tónica lógico. It says always yes, never no. Go with the flow. It's logical. And this kind of vibe is what they have in channeling for Cuba, And as for political reasons, I didn't delve too much in it, but I do know that there's a lot of hands that politicians or constructs have on the sound or on the voices of the people. So they tend to even approach life as if, you can see that the suppression is real and the oppressed voices is real. I have a lot of oppressed voices there. I don't want to speak on it because these are also things that I've heard. I like speaking on things that I know. I like speaking on things that I've experienced for myself. So I would wait until I travel there to then, get first-hand experience to then say, this is what I know is happening in Cuba, than to just hear or I say something on me hearsay,
As you touched on, yourself, Solace, and Mr. Savona recently completed a tour of Australia to promote the release. Give me a summary of the tour and describe the experience.
Wow. Jake Savona, big up yourself. Neda on percussions, big up yourself. Solace, big up yourself. Beautiful energy, beautiful people, the whole team. Eric, Anna, and the film team, Lauren. I don't know. It's beautiful. We went to Sydney. I'm still trying to figure out if it's cans or cans. I'm still trying to figure out how to say that. We went to Melbourne. Went to Byron Bay. Went to a festival called Island Festival. It's just, I got to see a different side of Australia that I never did from the first time when I went there, which was just to do festivals. This time I kind of got time to spend time with people from the place, both indigenous people and both people, people who live there as like Australian citizens in other place, and there's a lot of different narratives. Narratives is my new favorite word to speak on, There's a lot of different conversations in that space where you get to hear a lot of different views. And what's happening is, I can feel more than anything else, is there's a spiritual awakening happening on the space for everyone there, and a lot of more room for wider conversations is being created that can have a great effect on people and their understanding of themselves and each other, So I feel like that is more happening, where people now, there's room for the average person to feel as if they're included or as if they have a voice. So that's happening. I feel there's a lot of love. There's a lot of reasons to love Australia.
Am I right that the CD version of the album comes complete with a booklet with photos from the making of the project and full credits for each track?
Yeah, man, everything, credits, everybody, photo. I've never seen anything like this one. Beautiful packaging, amazing packaging, and yeah, man, you skip through it. You gotta see Prince Allah have him. It's like a mega page. It's just Prince Allah and him have him arms wide open. Prince Allah's featured on a few of the tracks. I have Cali P, it was in there. I have Turbulence, it was in there. You have images of there's a mean one of me and Ernest Franklin the day when I met Ernest Franklin for the first time in Jamaica. There's pictures of the artists from Cuba, Angelina, Solis, there's Sly and Robbie, there's a percussionist, it's a whole story that kind of tells you everything that's been happening, the beautiful experience shared via pictures, and that project, man, I got to listen to the vinyl, the first vinyl, the first press, sounds solid, the mix, nice, the songs, man, he really did manage to get the best of both worlds in there,
Is there a documentary on the way too?
There's a documentary. All of this has been filmed from day A until now. From when you can see that it did take a while, because in the video, the first single when it came out, was when we hear them just start to stuff like this, and then throughout the whole process, year long, and this is when the video is ready to release. So it shows you that it's been a long time in the making, but a lot of work has gone into this to get it to the level that's at. Because this guy really, he takes pride in quality, and he really takes pride in this project. So he wants to give it his best, and he'll rather take time and present that, and I respect that still, because it's amazing, Jaja.
Now on to your new solo project, New Narrative. It includes 9 tracks. Are you classing this an EP?
It's a project, We're going to call this one now a project. I think this is what's going to... Okay, then I could say this to you. I've been wanting to release an album for the longest while. From the first time me and you talk, I feel like I've been working on the album since then. And it's got to do with a mixture of the experiences that I've had been in England and traveling and new sounds and, but I've been creating it. I want it to be like... From this is where my production side is going to creep in. So I've been wanting to create this album and release this project for the longest while, but waiting for the right moment. So until then, I do a lot of EPs and different collaborations with different producers to be able to also have something to share with you. The last thing was the mixtape, which was like a quick independent move, Again, big up Riga Empire, and I was one of the final projects there. And then the other one, EP, was the Still Pushing one. And this next one, which is more of a project, between me and Ivy and the Loud City Brothers, is the next release. And I'm a little bit more confident in saying that the next thing is going to be the album, the debut album, So that's where I'm at right now. I don't want to even confirm it to you, but the New Narrative is a project I'm pushing with Ivy right now.
What is the New Narrative, and how is it different from the old one?
How is it different from the old one? confidence is key. Confidence is essential for me. I feel like before I was sharing in music a lot of things that I was in Wonderland, you know. It's okay to be there, but my experiences now where I can speak of more sure experiences, just a few years ago, I was saying this to Reggie yesterday in an interview, Shani B. He said, 2 years ago, if you asked me where I was, I'd probably tell you to ask my manager, you know. Now, if you ask me where I am, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more. I'm a little bit more sure, you know, I'm a little bit more sure. So I want to speak from a place of, let's say, where you're more of conviction than another space where you're wondering. And that's what I would like to get across to you. That's why we've been listening to me before, you know, and saying that this is where we need to be right now. We need to be a little bit more sure of where you are, you know, so you can step in that space. Instead of being in a space where you're always either hearing the worst of yourself, so you end up thinking the worst of yourself. And that could be the narrative that you choose to either subscribe to or that you've been subjected to. But there's better conversations to be had about you. And when you get to that, it's easier to get to a space of where you're more sure. Big up Gibbo, who's already in that space, to know that, yeah, man, I can build my thing, you know, so I'm going to do that. You move from conviction, you're sure. A lot of people out here wandering with ideas that they've been dancing with for however how long, but because they're not too sure, they stay in Wonderland. Come out of that space there, you know. Yeah, man, new narrative. I spent my whole life searching for myself in the books, but the greatness of my story has somehow been overlooked. Found some Garvey information in the wind and know them shook. The strongest of the strongest has survived. Now take a look. And the rest of the narrative is in the project.
When you posted the artwork on Instagram, I noticed English Fire commented saying, "You look like a cross between Dennis Brown and Shabba." Then you replied saying Shabba Brown. Is this the look you were going for?
not even, you know, not even. This was just, big up the photographer, Shane. We went for a day to say, yo, let's just shoot some things. And he said, bring your stuff that you have in your wardrobe. This is, yeah, man, another part of me, and when it comes to, say, let's say, style of dressing, but I didn't have anybody in mind that I was trying to emulate, just put on some things. But if it says Dennis Brown or Shabba Ranks, then Shabba Brown. That's it. Yeah, man.
Where was that photo shot? Was it in London?
It's in London. This was in London. I want to remember the exact same place, but I want to say I'm going to tell you exactly where it is. It was the day of the photo shoot. That's all I can tell you. But it is in London. It's a London-based photo, and Ivy was the one that was even more keen on this one, because he said as soon as he saw it, he said, yeah, man, I want to look like it. Classic was his word. Timeless was the second word that he used. And these two words together, you know, it goes well with it. We want to create a product, because I want to create something that I want to be able to look back on 50 years from now. Everything you do now, you know, Gibbo, somebody's going to look at it 50 years from now and say, this is what was happening. So when you do that, knowing that you're doing the best of yourself, you're giving out the best of your works, you know.
Did you choose that location because there's a sign in the background saying Imperial Works, or is that a strange coincidence?
Very, very, very strange coincidence. And it was my friend Lizzie that pointed that out to me, because I even had the picture from so long and never even saw that. It was Lizzie, another photographer, that made a comment on Instagram again and said Imperial Works. And I didn't even see it when she said that. I thought that was another compliment from the pic. And then I looked further into the picture, and then I saw past the to let sign and onto the Imperial Works. But yeah, man, natural alignments. Yeah, man.
What prompted you to write Vigilant, the lead single from the project?
Experiences. Personal experiences. I want to say this, that this is not what I feel like. It's not a worldview. This is stemming from my personal experiences. And from what I've experienced, something heavy, you know, on this spiritual chat, more so than anything else. I feel like there's a lot of things that you would hear in song that I would prefer to just verbalize via music and allow music to speak.
Production-wise, Roy Loader Music, King Ivia.
King
You've got
Ivy,
Loud City, yourself, anyone else?
Jawaiza, big up Jawaiza too, man. Jawaiza, something like that. But the Loud City family more so. And one of the brothers, I think, is their dad that played there's a song on the acoustic song that's there. It's a dad that played the guitars on that. And one of the brothers, I want to big them up for that, you know. But we've been working on this throughout the year and trying to get the best sound, keep on going back through instrumentals. And I love how they work, you know, very patient. And then we dip on the road, and then they're not pushing or trying to say, yo, you have to get it, you know. But I've been trying to absorb a little bit more in experience to be able to have a little bit more conviction in what I'm saying, to be able to say, this is our narrative, you know. This is what I'd like to introduce you to. This is what I think can take you away from. A lot of people wake up and sign in 6 o'clock to the news, and then sign in 12 o'clock, and then sign in 8 o'clock. And these are the narratives that they subscribe to, which is why they wake up in the morning again with everything else to worry about. You know, the world is far wider than that, you know. If you travel more, you'll probably be able to see that. And that's why I love traveling. And that's what I want to share within the music, you know. That the world is far wider than what you can find to worry about. And if you choose your frequencies wisely, you find it easier to put yourself in a space where you can find the joy that you seek, you know. Yeah, man.
Speaking of traveling, you visited Ghana recently. What were the highlights and standout moments of this trip?
The highlight of this trip for me was, you know that Luciano song, give me a one-way ticket, going back to Africa to live it. In a Babylon I suffer like dog, wanna go back on me yard. As a countryman, as a man from Clarendon, this is something that I, my friends, cousins, families, everybody's been wanting to do. The majority of the people I know from Jamaica have always been wanting to go back to Africa. Repatriation is what they sing in majority of Rastaman song. This is something that is a part of our process of being, you know, and we know the stories behind that. So we've always been on our way back spiritually, and to make that happen in a physical sense is one of the most amazing things ever. I feel like even when I came to London, I was on my way somewhere, and it's the first time I've been to a place where I feel like I'm rich. I don't need to go anywhere else. Anything can happen right now. In this space where I'm standing in Ghana, I felt at home. You know, and that's a beautiful feeling to have. That's an experience I would like to offer to anyone I don't know, in my cousins, for anybody. You to give a book a ticket, you know. Everybody just to go feel that and get away from, the everyday narratives here. We just remind you of, everything that you don't have, so you're not even able to recognize your riches, because you're dancing and everything, and all of this. Yeah, man, book a ticket, you know. Book a ticket and go. I wish when I was growing up in Jamaica, I had access to a brethren from Ghana, or I knew someone from Ghana, or I knew someone from Congo, from Sudan, from Nigeria. The only thing I knew of Africa was whether the 2% I would get in a book, or the worst of it that I would get from a screen, or Buju Banton would say, woy, Sudan, or Bob Marley would say, sing to Zimbabwe, or a couple Rastaman would say, yo, Africa. But there's nothing else that I would know of it. I don't know any African. You know, so it would be good to know that man them from Africa book them ticket to go to Jamaica, and the man from Jamaica book them ticket to create that cultural exchange. So it's the same thing, kind of like what happens with the Havana meets Kingston. We need to do one with Jamaica and Haiti. We need to do one with Trinidad, Barbados, St. Vincent, so we can connect the islands and realize that, half of the Jamaica is most probably outside of Jamaica anyway. You know? Half of them will live everywhere else anyway. You'll be able to see that the world is far and wide, man. So travel and go see it. If not, we're going to keep on making music that can connect these dots, and that's why we're there, you know?
Has the trip had a lasting impact on you? What's different now in terms of your thoughts, your mindset?
It's 100%. I feel more sure. I feel like I can't wait to start my family to then share this experience. Maybe to go build in Africa, you know. I feel like I am here in London, but most of us as kids from the Caribbean are here in London, not because it's our choice. These are the ripple effects of the actions of our grandparents and the choices that they made. Now we are dancing in those options and choices, And we're grateful for the opportunity that was given and granted by that. But I feel like now that we have the opportunity to make choices for ourselves, we're going to make better decisions. We're not going to spend our whole lives trying to fuel or further enhance the system that's already flourishing over here in England. We're going to want to go back and build the Africa that we want to see, because we now have access and the know-how, and we can. So we're going to want to go back to Jamaica and build what we want to see in Jamaica. The same thing that we always worry about and say, yo, what happened to the music business? What happened to the thing? We have the know-how now. We're not going to sit down and talk about, oh, we're going to build. People are going to build because they have the know-how. Build your own station, you know, and build with the knowledge of the structure that you're trying to build, or the system that you're trying to build, and not just freestyle it. You know, we get to it. You know what I mean? So answer that call it. Yeah, but build. We're gonna have more builders. We're gonna have more builders than people who are wondering what are we gonna do. Because I feel like growing up in Jamaica, the school system that I grew up in, and I always say this openly now. When I was growing up in Jamaica, whatever it is that I was given to learn didn't teach me how to build anything. It taught me how to go and maintain what was already built, 100%. So right now we want more builders to come out for the island, and not just people who come out for maintain things. You know, you need to own things. I build my studio January, my own studio, and now I don't even need to ask if I can record. I don't ask permission to record my tune. I get up and record it because I can. That's why people you need to get to, and if you need to want to know how to do it, not so that you can say it's just me and I'm here everything, but just so you can, if you need to, if it's necessary, you'll be able to. So want to know something, man, so we can build some things around here. Yeah, man.
You're going to be part of the Back to Africa Roots Tour here in the UK, along with J Boog, Savona and Black and My, which gets underway on November the 22nd and sees you performing in Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, Bristol, Leicester and London. I like this lineup. It's an interesting choice of artists. How did this come together, and what excites you about this tour the most?
What excites me is the connection of all these artists together from all these corners of the earth. I really love Savona's music. I love Black and My music. I love J Boog music. Kind of like my music, you know, so it work out well, you know. And then Ammo, big up Ammo, and big up Paul, big up Punch Records and everybody behind it, you know. They just contacted me out of the blue and say, yo, Randy, we've got this concept. I'd like for you to be a part of it. And I feel like all of that only happened simply because I was presenting myself. So I presented myself to say, just in case if opportunity arises, then you will be ready for the calling. So for tour like Back to Africa Roots to happen at a time when I'm about to release the new narrative, perfect alignments, you know. So we just give thanks for the opportunity and everything that will come after that. We're now in London, with a strong conversation. We're still in a space where they say we don't have any radios, we don't have any DJ play music. We're there in London. I push a narrative called Back to Africa, strong and confidently touring across the UK. Yeah, man, because we can, and that's the kind of movement we want to see in England. Get up and do things, you know. Yeah, man.
What are the plans for Truth's music?
Yeah, more platforms, what we say. We don't have more radio. I wish we can get up and build a radio station tomorrow morning, Truth Radio, and send out more voices. You know, I was gonna move back to Jamaica like a year ago, 2 years ago, because I got tired. I did feel the whole frustrating thing of an artist and saying, yo, Wagwan, everything's happening outside in the UK, and what, another tour outside the UK? Yeah, one more. Well, what's happening in the UK? Well, what is it that we can't do here? And I was gonna move, and then something said to me, say, oh no, I even met out to Kabaka, and I said, I don't really think I'm gonna move back to Jamaica. I feel like I wanna stay here and make it happen here. So if anything, I could be a bridge for that we think is impossible, you know. Then start doing collaborations and find a way to then invite more voices from outside countries into the UK. If I can stay here, I could be a lighthouse for whatever it is we think we're pushing for the movement, you know, and build a studio and work hard. Some artists, I know all the artists, so many artists in the UK that want voice and they don't have any space because some of them are going off the old layout that we have, where them vice 100 tune for produce, I just put them down and I just did it, which is alright. But when you have your own space, you don't even need to do that. You can work with people, not for people. You work and you collaborate with people, but if that's not ready, then you get back to your thing and say, yo, boom, all right, then this is what I'm doing until this person is ready. But you create more opportunities for yourself, and this True Studio is basically going to be like a space that funnels that. I don't want to sign no artists, I don't want none of that. I want to show them how to build one exactly like this. Yeah, man, no signing, no tie down, no fly. I want to show man how to fly because man can't fly. I'm going to fly, Gibbo. So I want to show the man how to do the exact same thing,
How close were you to going back to Jamaica?
Very close, man. Very, very close. I came back to the UK, spoke to my family as well, and just thinking that, yeah, man, it better I'm going to do it a yard. And I'm hearing that from enough people. I say, yo, I think now I'm going to move in a guy yard and I have a guy yard. But I say, no, man. What me I run go? Yeah, man, you can. What with the know-how that we have now, we have all of these social platforms that we can connect together to then generate and have our own audience to then funnel and channel music to. We can do that slowly and build like that. Now I have my own little studio. I can continue working on this album I've been working on for 7 years, and then get another independent distribution production, get another independent distribution, and do it like that, or I can get a big distribution around the project based upon the profile and push that and take time and build like that. Release a few more videos, release a few more singles, do a tour in the UK, slowly build my audience and work like that, in the UK and write that story. Or I can write another story. I could end up becoming the #1 artist in Europe. I could be another story. But I want to write this thing in England. And I came here because I feel like me say, half of Jamaica, they are England. There's so many Jamaicans living there. There's so many people from the Caribbean living there. So many people from Africa living there. Listen to Afrobeats. If they didn't kept it pushing and kept it consistent, it wouldn't be where it's at now. I was there when Afrobeats just come out in the club. When them play Yahoo's there, all of these songs. So many songs that I used to listen back to. I was a DJ playing Afrobeats and saying, yo, check out the vibe, yeah. And for it to come from there now to it being charted, you can't tell me a reggae can't do that. I have to push that. I'm a day in England, make sure it's my footprint in it. Yeah, man, and that is the evolution. That is the story.
Before we finish, is there anything else you'd like to mention or anyone that you'd like to big up?
Man, big up Gibbo. Big up Gibbo always, Big up Gibbo. I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to keep our previous interview. I've already downloaded our first interview. I have it on my hard drive when we were in the studio and watching it back with the red and black and everything. I watch back to keep in mind, to remind myself of whatever it is that was said and where I was, to kind of have a little bit more conviction about where I am, to be able to know where I'm going. So big up everybody that I've been journeying with so far, I always big up Blemish. I always big up Riga. I always big up all of them two movements there because they have a very, 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 very strong hold on everything that's been happening. Big up to the listeners, big up to the DJs, big up to the bloggers. Everybody, every artist we are pushing at England now, big up on yourself because you can build the thing. And there is unity. No one nobody saying no unity in England. We don't want no negative frequency. We don't want no negative. We're there and we're doing it. Gibbo there. If Gibbo is not here, then we can say, yo, something wrong. But if we have Gibbo, if we have Shawnee B, if we have Ras Kwame, if we have the sound them, the selector them, we're still trying their very hardest to push it. Through you can see that through Sound Clash Fraternity. You can see all of the selector them we have put same way. They got the independent DJs who are still doing underground radio. There's a lot of people here pushing and managing and maintaining what we call culture, So big up them people there. Yeah, man. Always.
Check out Randy's latest solo project, New Narrative, and Mr. Savona's Havana meets Kingston, which is also a part of Support Good Music. Randy, it's always great to catch up. I wish you nothing but continued success. Thanks a lot.
Blessed love, Gibbo. Respect.
Gibbo presents